everything is a benefit to other peeps. Right? Disaster is benefit to certain peeps. Celebration is a benefit to certain peeps. Accomplishment is a benefit to certain peeps. Right? The lowest and the highest are a benefit to some peeps, because everyone is here to experience a certain degree of the entire spectrum of human nature and experience, emotionally speaking. Especially artists. If you don't know a disaster, you can't really be a full artist, really. You have to know disaster. You have to know joy too. You have to know both light and dark to a certain degree. You feel better about what you're doing now. Nothing seems to be too much for you. You don't seem to be empty. You have that kind of fullness already, or at least an attitude that's open to both dynamics. The dark and the light, the happy and the sad. That's what drama is about. Shakespeare, complete, human, tragedy. And so we all benefit from it because we see something in it. We see ourselves in everything. But that's a level. That's a level. You don't want to see yourself in anything. But you got to evolve to that point. So the beauty is being birthed. It's something, and every step along the way is still the same beauty. The beauty is ongoing, it's constant beauty. It's constant life, constant beauty and joy, beauty in knowing, beauty in truth, and beauty in doing. All of these things are part of it. You have to find yourself in the nowness of it as much as possible, so that you don't feel that one thing is more better than the next in a manner of speaking. Because when we're speaking about the relative, as we have been doing, relative to darkness and guns and all the rest of that, if there is such a thing as an absolute or realization, it's not interested, it's not concerned. Like the God has no interest in what the earth is doing particularly. It has more interest in what it's doing.
So with a, let's say, tragic situation, young child dies tragically, is there a long-term benefit? Because it doesn't appear to anyone involved.
Well, I think the benefit is not at the ego level. The benefit is in understanding the nature of the universe as time and space, energy and matter, appearing and disappearing. The benefit is having it drilled into your head. That's the real deal here. See, it's not I mean, it's a joke, but it's not a joke. See, it's a painful joke. Right, it's a painful joke. So it is a joke, you know. Hey, she was here yesterday, she's not here today. What's going on here? Right, it's a joke. Right. I'm not saying it's a laughable joke, it's a tragic joke. Because nobody owns anything. Nobody's in control when that happens. So that's why it's considered a joke. Yeah. You start to see life. You start to realize what the real situation is. You can go in a second, so you can then, because this happens, you can start to appreciate one another more, because you don't know when the next one's going to be taken out. You don't know who that person is. So you want to make sure you're complete with everybody. The best way to be complete with everybody is to love them on the spot. Especially family. I've met a lot of parents who just wish they could go back and love their kids more, because they said, I was so involved in this, and I was, having troubles with my husband or my wife, and I was sort of devastated by our conflict, and I didn't love so-and-so, and then all of a sudden, so-and-so passes. Or it's taken out, and it's incomplete. Well, you have an opportunity today, ladies and gentlemen, complete it right now, here now. Complete it, get it done. And not regret it. Don't walk down the path of regrets because you're lazy or because you're negligent. No, take care of the love right here now. Get to loving right here on the spot. Good healing, good medicine to everybody.
So if a parent, again, going back to that situation, goes through something, do they benefit even if they don't know they've benefited?
Yes, right. We're talking about consciousness and unconsciousness. Yeah, of course, the debt is paid, but the ego's not up to it. Sometimes it takes the ego years before it comes down and says, wow, I'm glad that happened. In a way, I was on the worst end of it, but I'm glad it happened because it changed things for the better in the long run. Remember, mishaps and accidents always create improvement. That's not my endorsement of them. I'm not saying create mishaps, because somebody's going to improve upon it, or somebody's going to be, let's say, benefited by it. That's going to happen inevitably. See? And that's because of the nature of the mind and intelligence and the creativeness working so as to prevent accidents. You can prevent some aspects of it, but you can't prevent accidents because you can't control human nature.
So these mistakes and accidents have an expansive quality?
Well, they're like the mishaps of the earth. They're an extension of natural forces, right, that are in balance. They're being balanced out. Yeah. Same thing with an earthquake. What is an earthquake? Release of tension. It's a mishap, but it's a release of tension. And it's a recreation of the terrain. Volcano, same thing. Tsunami, same thing. Release of tension. We are that. It's not like that's happening to us. No, we are that. That's happening all the time. We don't see it happening in our sense because our minds are somewhere else, which culturing makes that inevitable. Our minds are somewhere else. Culture. And you see the animals and you hear these stories when the earth is going to quake, the animals head away. Or if the tsunami's coming, you see the animals head for the higher ground already. They know already. They know that these things are going to happen. They sense it because it's a vibrational wave that they pick up before it manifests in a certain way. And we, natives, do feel that often. Because natives have their ear to and heart to the ground. They worship the mother. So they pay attention to her. And we're paying attention to all our business. So we're the last ones to find out certain things. Because business is more important than nature, the source of all of our business. The source of life. So we have to learn the hard way. And we wonder why is it happening? Well, if you're paying attention, you see the logic of it. The logic is everywhere.
So does the magnitude of a tragic event define it in that a great big tragic act is better for people in a sense, or a small
Well, it's
tragic
not good or
act?
bad. I mean, we have to be realistic. Something that happens of that magnitude, it's not good or bad. It just is. You got to get with the is, and then you got to make heads or tails of it in your respective way, because it's different for everybody. But it is what it is. And so what it's saying is you got to move on. Huh? When the oceans start to shift, which may not happen as instantaneously as some people fear, it's probably happening very slowly right now because of the dissolution of the ice caps. See? And so we're going to be seeing a lot more problems with weather. That's so obvious. I mean, you don't need to be a scientist to know that. If something humongous like the ice caps disappear, there's displacement. It's got to be displacement. That's just the law of balance. So it's got to be displacement. So if it's not there, it's going to be on us. Obviously, if it's not there somewhere else, it's disappearing. We're not relieved of it. We got to deal with it. Yeah, so it's balance, and we are part of that. I think often we forget that we're earth beings. And we are the earth. And what happens on the earth, it's because the earth enables it to happen. The earth can tolerate it. And the earth is not really concerned about the pollution, even though it might respond to it. But guess who created the pollution? Guess who created the peeps that are doing the pollution? Earth is completely responsible for that. So we have to be realistic about this. She's sitting behind the scenes there just laughing at us. She said, okay, when I'm ready to have a makeover, a super volcano or two are going off, and just forget about this episode of human nonsense. When she's ready, in the meantime, she's having fun watching us go through these crazy. Come.
Is there something about human nature that has to learn the hard way?
Yeah, stupidity. But that's sacred. But even that is divine, divinely stupid, right? Because everything then shows us something that we need to see and hear and feel and experience for the next step. Death is the next step for many peeps. But it's a big question because we're not really being programmed to die here. I mean, we're being programmed to kill ourselves. We're being programmed to die in a manner of speaking. We're eating garbage. We're living garbage. Right? We're filling ourselves up with garbage, minds, eyes, all the senses, inundated by garbage programming that have nothing to do with waking up, but just being asleep and being a consumer. Being a consumer is being dead asleep. All right, you're just panning somebody's pockets and you're enjoying it, which is the deal. They make you enjoy it, and they enjoy even more the money they make from you. Right? So you're being taken. Yeah, you're being ripped off, but you're enjoying it. You want to go to the movies and see stupid pictures, watch stupid programs, spend your life watching nonsense. People don't mind. They're making money off of you. So that's really what it is. You have nothing that you choose to do that's more creative for you. Until you wake up and say, I can't be doing this. I have another purpose, another mission here. I can't see a million movies. I gotta wake up. I'm not gonna see them all. I'm not gonna live a million years. My body's gonna give out in a few years. Thank heavens. It's about time. Yeah. Right. In other words, appreciating the beauty of mortality, time, which is the Earth's time. And that we are really ignoring the real event, which is space-time. Right. Heart time. Heart space-time. Zero heart space-time. We're ignoring that. Because it doesn't exist. We don't see that on the movie screen. We don't see that in the magazines. See, we don't hear it. We don't hear that in music. We don't hear that in conversation. So we miss it. That's why I say it's really a culturing bias that people have, and it's all materialism, not enough something else. Not enough nativism, maybe. Transcendent nativism, which would be more or less our fancy.
There are some who would say that the way to extinguish desires is to indulge those desires till they're no longer
Well,
desired.
they become extinguished and exhausted, but by that time you're dead, so... Better to be already dead, so you have to go through the agony of that, exhausting yourself. Hey, I thought this was supposed to help me. Yeah, you're dying, sir. You'll be gone in 5 minutes. I think your practice worked. Not. Right, no. What we have to understand is the machinery, the way the machinery works. The more you do, the more you want to do. Because you're creating an addiction. You have to understand the machinery. You have to understand the body, how it works. Habit. So you got to train yourself not to be an addict, but be a productive one. Okay? You find the people who are most, let's say, productive are addicted to what they're doing. So we say, well, that's a justifiable addiction then. They're hardworking, people at the top. Musicians, oh, okay. So for them it's productive. And it is no longer productive when they wake up saying, well, I don't want to be used this way anymore. A lot of classical musicians I've known in the past, and, they're just doing the same thing all the time. And they envy jazz musicians for some reason, because they think jazz musicians are creating something. They're not always creating something. But jazz musicians are masturbating the same stuff too often. You have some who are creative. Very often you go to school to learn how to improvise. That means it's a machinery. And then you have to get beyond that. Then you wake up when you're on the bandstand seeing you're playing this stuff that's just more of the same stuff. You get more or less disillusioned, become disillusioned about that. So how do I create? Well, then you have to change your life. You have to change your life. When you change your life and you start experiencing new things, you might be able to play new things if you can link the two together. That means you have to be deprogrammed as a musician and reprogrammed as an experiencer.
And then when that reprogramming occurs, is it again repeating that cycle, let's say, or is there a
Well,
fundamental shift?
you have to reprogram yourself to be creative, and understand what I mean by that. That means experience fuels you. If experience is fueling you properly, where there's a transformation going on, then you're not going to be repeating yourself. That's in the same manner, because you're having new experiences with different people. Different experiences then become different music by nature. If you're playing from what I'm talking about precisely, that you don't have your own playing then at that point. You've gone beyond that. You're playing what is. And it's a theory for some, but for me it's a realization. And for others, it's realization too. I'm saying this is, for anyone. Ultimately for everyone. You have to get to that place. You're coming.
So at that point, it's a who question again.
Yeah, for who? That depends on your evolution. And whether you need to. Then it becomes a need. Then we have to say need has to come back into the mix. Do you need to do it this way? Do you need to sacrifice everything else to be able to play a certain way? Is it worth the sacrifice? Something that you have to arbitrate with yourself. And I'd say, no, you shouldn't change anything. If you ask me, just keep going where you're going, but do it deeper. Because you don't know, you take a risk. You might be jumping off a cliff there. Depending on what it is you might be trying to do, whoever we're talking about, depends on what they're seeking for themselves. Because what it is, in terms of realization, spiritually speaking, is always present. It's not somewhere else. It's not something else. It's always present. And the way to get that is through including more, rather than the opposite.
So are we defined, let's say, by the depth of our need or the nature of our need?
Well, I think we are defined more by our interpretation of what depth and need are. So we have to understand that. That's what we're defined by, our interpretation of it. Sometimes we don't know what our real need is or what our real depth is, but our interpretation may be limited or may give us access to it, so we need to make a determination about that.